Hello and welcome back to Transfer Review, where we put silly season under the microscope. Joining me today, it's Monsieur Henry Hill. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Doogie. I don't know about you, but I feel like the Euros are disappearing way too quickly. I can't believe we're almost at the end of the group games. It'll get to that point where there's not a game on every day, and then suddenly I won't know what to do with myself. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, how are you, Doogie?
I'm good. Yeah, by the time this comes out, the group games would of course finish. We are filming this at just before lunch on a Wednesday. My stomach is rumbling. I'm actually pretty hungry, but otherwise I'm good. I'm hungry for good transfers as well, and we're going to kick off with our transfer that we love, which is Pau Torres to United, which is still ticking over, and this comes in from Super Dan. What's going on with this one, Henry?
Yeah, like you say, this one's been rumbling on for a while now, isn't it? Even before that Europa League final where Pau Torres put on what many are considering a bit of an audition for that Manchester United role, and passed with flying colours, judging by the result. But as we know, United are looking for a centre-back to potentially partner Harry Maguire. I think the Jadon Sancho deal is their priority, and once they can tie that up, it'll be full steam ahead trying to figure out who is going to beat Johnny Maguire in the back line. And the Manchester Evening News claimed that they've been quietly working behind the scenes to tie up a deal for the 24-year-old Pau Torres from Villarreal. Apparently, Solskjaer's team have been encouraged by Villarreal's willingness to do a deal. It looks like a player plus cash proposal could be on the table. There's been all sorts of reports about what his buyout clause in his contract really is. And now Fabrizio Romano claims it's 65 million euros, which I'd be unconvinced any side would pay quite that much for him at the moment, and I do think that Villarreal would probably do business for a bit lower, maybe with another player involved. They're not silly. If there's going to be money waved at them on the table, then they probably will take it more seriously. But if we look at kind of the player himself, 6'4" centre back, he came through the academy at the Yellow Submarine, and after a loan spell in Malaga in the Segunda Division in 2018-19, has established himself in the first team. He's made 88 appearances for them so far. That included 10 in the Europa League, which, as we saw, Villarreal romped their first sort of major title. They won the Intertoto Cup, but that's a bit of a throwback for some of the older football fans there. He's just a really kind of calm and composed figure. It's no surprise to see him starting at centre back. I don't think for Spain as well. I don't think Luis Enrique he might have considered taking Sergio Ramos if he didn't have some excellent additions like Laporta and Pau Torres in there. And I really like him. I've just been writing about Ben White for a Scout Report, and I get the kind of same composed vibes when it comes to Torres too. 1.2 tackles and interceptions, 71% completion rate there, 61% aerial duel win rate, and then you're looking at about 51 passes per game with 88 passing accuracy. So as we said, can play out from the back, really competent, and seems quite calm and composed. He's not sort of the most physically imposing of players, but he does know how to dictate the play, and he just looks very measured and assured, which is what you're looking for right now. And if you look at some of the teams that Villarreal beat going through that tournament, Red Bull Salzburg, Dinamo Kiev, Dinamo Zagreb, Arsenal and United, and they beat some of the big Spanish boys as well this season. Pau Torres has played a big part in that. No surprise to see him named in the UEL team of the season there. I think he knows deep down that he's probably going to be moving at some point this summer. I think he said he's totally calm and only focusing on the Euros. But it does look like his time is up with Villarreal, although they do have Champions League football next year, so it's not a foregone conclusion. And I think it's no surprise to United in for him. I think he's a brilliant option there. However, Tiggy, he's not the only person they're chasing, is he?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the links with Sergio Ramos continue to persist. I mean, we talked about that on Transfer Talk on Football Daily yesterday, I believe. Looks like it's a toss-up between Man City, Man United and PSG for him. But The Athletic claim that Real Madrid are increasingly resigned to losing Raphael Varane as well this summer, with his representatives reportedly telling Los Blancos that he wants a new challenge. Now, Ancelotti wants him to stay, but is realistic about the club's financial situation. And the club are also reportedly open to offers for Hazard, Bale, Isco, Odegaard and Luka Jovic as well. The Athletic claim that Chelsea and Man City are also interested in Varane, but United are most likely to sign him, and they hope, according to The Athletic, it could be done for as little as £45 million, which would be an incredible coup, considering the sort of world-class ability and experience he brings to United. He's still just 28, he's not 29 until April next year, so still very, very young. He's been capped 77 times by France. He's made 360 appearances for Real Madrid since signing from Lens in June 2011 for just 10 million euros. Got to go down as one of the best bargains in Real Madrid's history. He's won 15 trophies there, including 3 La Ligas, 4 Champions Leagues, and of course the World Cup as well. Few would bet against France going all the way in this tournament as well, although, we are filming this prior to their game against Portugal tonight, so we'll see what happens there. He also completes 3.4 passes into the final third, so not the most progressive passer necessarily. It seems like Sergio Ramos does the majority of that, or they just feed it to the likes of Kroos and Modric for most of their ball progression. Pau Torres, by contrast, is at 4.2, so slightly higher. 2.8 progressive passes for Varane compared to 4.2 for Pau Torres. But he's a much more aggressive front foot defender. I think Pau Torres is the more laid back, sort of reserved of the duo. Whereas Varane, much more happy to go hunting for the ball, etc. Averaged 1.9 tackles and interceptions per 90 last season, which is pretty impressive given Real Madrid dominate most of the ball. And he's also slightly better in the air too, about a 75% aerial dual win rate. So if Varane is available for close to £45 million, as the Athletic believe, and Pau Torres for a similar sort of price, in my opinion, you go for Raphael Varane hands down, despite the fact he's 4 years older than Pau Torres. And if United secured Varane and Sancho, that could be a really, really good summer. Yeah. But Henry, I mean, you were writing about Sergio Ramos yesterday. Just to throw another name in the mix, do you feel like that could be a possibility for United? And if you got the choice between Ramos out of these two as well, who would you go for?
Ooh, well, first of all, I agree with you about the Varane over Pau Torres. If we look at some of the money they've spent on centre-back targets in recent years, Eric Bailly, Victor Lindelof, I think they do need to go for that complete article, just because at the end of the day, Varane will be quality for the next 4 or 5, maybe even 6 seasons, and I think it'll be an investment worth making there. Ramos, though, that's an interesting one. It seems like PSG could have something to say about it too. PSG have decided to inquire about Varane as well, by all accounts, since he's rejected their Real Madrid's final contract extension offer. So if PSG do go for Varane, as we reported on Euro Transfer Talk, I believe, this week, then that could mean Sergio Ramos might have to look at United as his sort of backup option there, and also vice versa for United too. And I mean, listen, 35 years old, okay, he's a bit old. He's only just really showed signs of slowing down. I think this is the first season he played less than 25 league games. It's something like a decade at Real Madrid. I would absolutely love to see Sergio Ramos in the Premier League. 180 caps for Spain. He's 5 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues. You can't write it. I think he would be an amazing short-term addition. And as we've seen in recent seasons, certainly in the Premier League, these kind of legends coming in, they can do a job. And I'd absolutely love to see Ramos follow suit.
Oh, there we have it. It seems like the centre-back market is absolutely flying so far. We've obviously seen Konaté go to Liverpool, Upamecano go to Bayern. Sven Botman's now being linked with Atalanta, which we'll come on to in our next section. David Alaba's gone to Real Madrid. Jules Koundé, I'm sure, will be linked with Real Madrid if Varane leaves as well. So keep your eyes peeled on this centre-back market. But for us, I think we're going Varane to United. But guys, who would you rather have, Varane, Ramos or Pau Torres, and why? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to our transfer we do not like.
Okay, so for the transfer we do not like this week, it comes in from @XCDMM, and it's Manuel Locatelli to Juventus. I should stress, I don't think we dislike this because of the player himself. I think this would be a great signing for Juventus. Doogie, we're just a bit like, about this transfer, aren't we? It's a bit predictable, you could say.
Yeah, it's just a shame. I feel like we do this when big players go to Bayern Munich in the German league as well, like Leon Goretzka when he left Schalke. If Manuel Locatelli goes to Juve, it's just one of the best up-and-coming midfielders. Going to Juve, like, really? Oh, it's just a shame. But Goal.com are reporting that Juve are closing in, obviously, on Sassuolo's Manuel Locatelli, and they're preparing to offer them 30 million euros and Radu Dragosin, who I don't know a lot about, but I'll come on to him in due course. So the Bianconeri have been admirers of Locatelli for some time, with many outlets reporting back in April that the old lady wanted to sign the 23-year-old, who has obviously starred at Euro 2020. And yeah, as I said, not against this because he's a bad player. It's just pretty dull. But we'd also forgive you for never having heard of Radu Dragosin as well. But he is a 19-year-old Romanian centre-back who was bought by Juve in 2018. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's made just 4 appearances for the club, none of which I've seen. He's highly rated, but he faces some serious competition for game time amongst centre-backs at Juve. Obviously, there's Bonucci, Chiellini as well, De Ligt and Demiral. Christian Romero too, although it feels like Atalanta are about to trigger that €25 million purchase clause they've got. So Sassuolo actually hold quite a lot of power here. If they don't want Dragos in, they can probably say no on that. They can ask for a bigger price, which Juve might not be able to do unless they sell Ronaldo, which looks unlikely. They obviously value Locatelli around the €40 million mark, but if he continues to star in this Euros, which now looks difficult now Verratti is back to full fitness, but I'm sure he'll get further game time in the knockout stages, then, they can drive that price up and ask for even more. Locatelli, when asked about it, wouldn't really be drawn into talking about his future. He said, "I rely on what happens on the pitch, the real things. Everything else is just gossip. It's useless to talk about." So this would be a remarkable turnaround for Locatelli, given that he was sold by AC Milan in a ridiculous decision by Leonardo for just €14 million 3 years ago without a buyback clause. Oh, I think it was initial loan actually, then sold for €14 million. But Henry, we've seen what he can do in the Euros, but what would Locatelli bring to Juventus in terms of his sort of playing abilities and traits?
He's a bit of a jack of all trades, isn't he? Sort of the modern day midfielder. He's got sort of everything up his sleeves. If we look at his 39 starts last season for club and country, 29 came as a deep line playmaker, and 10 were probably more of like a box to box operator there. And we saw that kind of dynamic feature against Switzerland, where he played number 8. He played on the left of a 3-man midfield, including Jorginho, the excellent Jorginho, and Nicola Barella. 3 tackles and interceptions, 1 aerial duel, 1 key pass, 90% passing accuracy, 2 shots, and of course 2 goals. 2 really well taken goals, as well. And to be fair, I mean, for Sassuolo, he's more generally a deep line playmaker. To see him pushing forward is actually quite exciting. His stats, once again, pretty solid last season. 4 goals, 2 assists, 4 tackles and interceptions. 2.5 shots and key passes per game as well. So to see him score 2 in that Switzerland game was very impressive. But actually, I don't think it's any surprise to see him on that left midfield 3, sort of covering Spinazzola when he gets forward, maybe offering Chiellini a bit of support. That kind of shows the flexibility he has there. No surprise to see Mancini absolutely loving him as well.
Yeah.
But then he's once again he's got a little bit of everything. 14.4 pressures per 90. That's 31% success rate, which isn't too bad for a midfielder. And only Busquets topped his 289 passes into the final third across the whole of Europe. And if we look at kind of some of Juventus's midfield options, who've been a bit kind of meh in recent times, Rodrigo Bentancur, Artur, Rabiot as well, so we never quite know what to expect from him. To see kind of Locatelli potentially joining Weston McKennie, who I've really been impressed with since he's moved to Juventus. To see that kind of combination linking up, I think there's a lot to be excited about for that Juventus side there. Obviously, they've got a bit of work to do to catch up with the Serie A champions from last year. Inter Milan, we'll see how they fare under Simone Inzaghi, but they were 13 points ahead last season. Looks like Hakimi is probably going to leave, although they have signed Çalhanoğlu on a free, which Menes, if you're watching, thank you for digging me out.
You got outed.
Listen,
came for you.
Good riddance. I'm sure most AC Milan fans will be thinking there. It'll be exciting to see. I'm really looking forward to Serie A next term as well. And watch out for Atalanta. If it looks like they're going to find, it looks like they're going to sign Koop Miners for €15 million, which would be an outrageous deal. And then Sven Botman, I'm reading €20 million here. I would imagine it might be a little bit more than that come the final details being drawn out. But yeah, so watch out for them under Gasperini. It does look like Robin Gosens is going to be leaving. That's the kind of maybe the sad, they're just taking away a bit of the gloss on their Bergamo project there. But yeah, like we said, Locatelli to Juve isn't like a bad move. It's a great move for Juventus. We just, in terms of keeping that competition alive, it'd been fun to see him go elsewhere. But I mean, Doogie, just a quick word on Sassuolo, because they've been so fun in recent seasons. It looks like De Zerbi's obviously gone off to join Shakhtar. It looks like Jeremy Boga is going to be leaving. Now Locatelli as well. Kind of looks like it's falling apart for Sassuolo at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big shame. I mean, I'm not surprised that clubs have come looking at their players. They play such a dynamic, sort of attacking style of play. Domenico Berardi's still there as well. He's shone for Italy in this tournament as well. And then you're looking at Francesco Caputo to probably keep it going up front as well. But Locatelli's a major loss. And Jeremy Boga as well. I think he's one of the best dribblers in Europe. De Zerbi, I'm surprised he's gone to Shakhtar, to be honest. I'm surprised he wasn't linked with the biggest jobs in Italy, with so many of them being available. Unless some of them were tied up, unless he'd already tied up going to Shakhtar before they were announced. But with Mourinho going to Roma as well, change at Inter, change at Fiorentina. You know, Serie A is going to be absolutely box office next year, and it looks like Rui Patricio and Granit Xhaka are going to join Roma imminently as well. So there's plenty to get your teeth stuck into in Italy at the moment. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Sven Botman and Koop Miners for Atalanta, two just magnificent signings. They're just such a well-run club. I'm just so impressed with them. But guys, that's all we've got time for on Transfer Review for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Enjoy the night off the Euros tonight and tomorrow as well. You know, catch some sleep. You know, talk to your loved ones, etc. And get ready for Saturday because the knockouts begin. Henry, if they've enjoyed watching this, what should they go and watch now?
Oof, we've got a scout report out on 3 clubs that desperately need to rebuild. Looking at how Lille, Crystal Palace, and there's another club in there I can't remember, and I wrote the script.
Inter Milan, I think it was.
Inter Milan, that's right. So yeah, go have a look at that and see what our suggestions on how they can bounce back this summer.
Perfect. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye.